Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be going over a few ways that you can make your animations look a lot more pleasant really quickly in After Effects. Personally, I'm constantly adding text animations to videos for different callouts for products, and before I was doing this I was very often just fading text in with a simple opacity fade, which is fine, but if you want to take your videos even just like a slight level up, this can be a really helpful tool to do so. So we're going to jump in here to After Effects, and the first thing that we're going to do is create a new composition. You can do so over here or click in your project window. So click New Composition, just a simple 1920 by 1080, simple white background. That'll do the trick. 24 frames per second is what I typically like to work in. So once you've created your composition, you'll see that it opened up down here in your timeline. The first thing that we're going to want to do is create a new text layer. And you can do so by clicking this type tool up here or clicking Command T on your keyboard, which is the hotkey for that. And we will type something out. Let's just do text animation for now. And that is currently white, so we're going to want to change that. So we'll come over to our properties panel over here and change it just to a black, a little off black, because we don't ever use full black. Yeah, and you can see now that we have our text animation on the screen. So what we're going to do to kind of spice this up, well, first let's align it. We will go to our align panel, and if you don't have that, you can always come over here and click on your align panel, which will open it up on this right side. We'll align it to the center, which is great. And then we'll come back over here to our composition and hit the P key, which will open up our position properties. So what we'll do first is just hit a position key right in the center, so we'll make sure that we save that centered position that we already set, and then we'll move it down here. And you can see now that we've created a basic animation of it sliding up into frame. So if you hit play, you can see pops up into frame, which is fine. Personally, I would prefer even opacity fade over this because it is so simple and kind of PowerPoint-ish looking. So what we're going to do to kind of spice that up is select these two keyframes by highlighting them in the timeline. We're going to right click on them, go to Keyframe Assistant, and then Easy Ease. And what this is going to do is take it up a little bit nicer. So you can see it kind of like eases into its place instead of just going to a hard stop at the end. It eases both in and out. But we can make this a lot better still. So what we're going to do is highlight these two keyframes again, and then we're going to click on this little icon here, which pulls up our graph editor. So you can see the current curve of motion. Essentially what this is doing now is you can see, let me zoom in a bit here. So this baseline is essentially zero movement. The higher up it goes is the more movement that's going to happen with this text animation. So it'll move 900 pixels per second approximately at its highest point, and it'll move 0 pixels per second at its lowest point. So basically right now it starts really slow, it speeds up, and then it slows back down at the end and creates a really nice ease. Well, not really nice, we're gonna make it even nicer here. So what we're gonna do first is, because at the beginning, there's no point necessarily in having an ease, because it's off the screen and we can't see it. We're just gonna pull this anchor point back, which is gonna make it start really fast. It'll start at its fastest speed, and then by the end, it'll slow down to its lowest speed. But right now, it kind of has this weird, it goes faster and then it starts to level out and then it goes slower towards the end. Kind of a weird arc. So that's going to look kind of strange if we play here. It's almost a little bit flat still. So what we can do to kind of give it a little more punch is actually just pull this over here. Make sure it stays flat at that baseline so that it ends at 0 seconds. And now we can see that it really eases itself into place. So instead of before, where it started slow, went faster, then slowed down at the end, now it'll start really fast and end super slow in a nice, smooth ease. And then we have one more thing that we can do to kind of take this to, again, in my opinion, another level. What you can do is jump out of the graph editor here and go over to your motion blur setting. You can see this little icon here, and that will enable motion blur. You're always going to want to do this last because it takes up a lot of your computer's power to actually render this. You can quickly toggle on or off all of the motion blur at this top panel, and then you can turn it on per layer below. So if you're not seeing it, make sure you do this one below and this one at the top. But when you're editing, I would mostly turn this off just because it saves a lot of computer power and you'll be editing a lot faster. So now just to preview this one, we will make sure that we have both of them on, and we can actually see now that we've turned it on, we get a little bit of this motion blur of it popping in at the first frame. So we're gonna actually need to move the position down a little bit so that we don't see it at the first frame. And then now let's play and see what we've created. So super smooth, super clean text animation, and just a few simple steps that to me is a lot better than, you know, what you would do by just fading text in. It adds a little more interest, a little more movement, and this can be expanded upon in so many different ways to really add to any of your animations. Using motion blur and using the graph editor combined can really add a lot of punch to any animations or any movement you have on screen with your text. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. If you found it helpful, it would be awesome if you'd leave a like. And if you're interested in more content like this, it'd be awesome if you'd subscribe to the channel. Thanks for stopping by.